What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is October 8th of 2018. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a wonderful day today. As you can probably tell, I am back home in the US from my trip to Malta, where I was attending the Delta Summit. And I definitely want to spend some time talking about the Delta Summit, maybe in the next live stream that we do on the channel. But to put it short, sweet, and to the point before we dive into the update, guys, I got to tell you, I not only had a great time and got to meet so many awesome people and attend a lot of great speeches, but I can tell you, for being there in under a week, I already got a feeling that Malta is going to be a prime location for blockchain and cryptocurrencies. The hype is really real in regards to Malta, and I definitely feel that we're going to be hearing more and more about it over the next few months. So definitely keep an eye on Malta and what's going on in the crypto space there, and if you can, make a trip out that way. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the update, guys. We don't have too many headlines to talk about. It's more in regards to price action at the moment. We're going to be diving into crypto markets. We really are getting towards a part of contingency where there's going to be a real decision here in regards to going up or down in the market. And again, I'll reiterate some of those signs, looking at some of the big players, but also along with that as well, we've been getting a sell-off in equities markets. So stocks have been seeing quite a dramatic drop. And as we've been talking about, the home builders index has been depleting as well. So we'll take a look at that in commodities as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into crypto markets. And for the most part of the past few hours, we've actually been in the green. We've got some good players, some in the double digits. However, for the most part, generally a green tone across markets as Bitcoin has been holding and is looking to signal for a potential breakout or breakdown. Again, I'm not one to really determine direction until we get it, guys. There's no trend at the moment, and I know it sounds silly. Probably a lot of people joke about, like, all right, I'm making the call. It's either going up or going down. The fact of the matter is that when you're a trader, guys, you don't want to trade something until you have a confirmation on a trend. I mean, you can do that. You can risk, you can place your bets, but again, especially if you're leverage trading, leverage is best used in rational amounts, and it's also best used when you have a determined trend, when you get a catalyst in regards to the indicators. And we'll talk about those as we go through and reiterate some of the things we've been talking about. Going on here, let's go ahead and take a look at market cap. Again, starting to see a flattening pattern here over the past year, guys. I'm really loving this. Again, we're coming back right down to where we were in market cap back here during the kind of October-November range, really just closing out those December levels. Again, that's really good to see in this market, to see, again, a basing out of price, making a higher level of support. And again, maybe this might provide enough to potentially see at least a short-term rally. I know a lot of people are hoping for a bump up here over the next few days, but again, there's no guarantee of it. Altcoins definitely down to that October level as well. So it might lead for some room to definitely move towards a higher level. And again, it looks like we're repeating history here with Bitcoin dominance. Again, we reiterated this back, I think, on the last daily update that, again, we're having a kind of drawn out period hanging out around this 50 to 60% range for Bitcoin dominance. And if we continue to do so without making newer highs, or we don't break below 6,000, I think you're going to very well see Bitcoin dominance start to deplete. So watch to see if it breaks down past the lows. If you get that, momentum might really start picking up not only in Bitcoin, but heavily in altcoins. So that's what I'm going to be watching in regards to dominance. But at the moment right now, what I'm really watching is what's going to be happening with Bitcoin. So I just recently put out a tweet talking about how over the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm pretty damn confident that there's going to be a move, whether it be to the upside or downside. Again, we don't know, but we do know the indicators that we're going to be watching to really confirm whether or not the trend is in favor of one way or the other. Again, it's no guarantee. These are not, all-in indicators, meaning that it's a confirmation. It's just generally what I'm going to be using for my trading strategy, and it provides a decent level of confidence before I really make any serious moves. So what are those indicators? Well, we've talked about this before. It's generally three major indicators. Getting above the 50 and 100 day, getting above the line of resistance that has been holding down the price since all the way back in January, and the 200 day. Well, good news is so far, even though we have not finished off for the day, we're still trading right now. And again, during this time we're talking, we could be getting some crazy price action out of nowhere. But as of now, we are currently seeing the price stand above, roughly above the line of resistance. I'd like to get a nice close above, say, 6,700 or 6,800, really confirm that. But at the moment, we are looking to test above that, and we have a very good chance if we get above 6,800 to get above the 100 day, as we're already above the 50. So that's 2/3 of what we really need here. So in the short term, no matter if we don't get, altcoin season, as I think everyone's really hoping for, we could very well have a good chance to test up here towards a higher range like we did over here around 7,200. The 200-day is going to be the real determiner as to whether or not we're going to be making a much longer term uptrend to say maybe 10,000 or 12,000, or hopefully if we get a lot of catalysts continuing to higher levels past what we saw in December. But again, we don't want to get too optimistic. We have to have the dominoes come into effect. So I'm going to be watching. It would be so nice if by today or tomorrow, in the next 24 to 48 hours, we get above the 100-day, a nice close on the 100-day, and maybe even a pullback to hold it as support, and then come up to test the 200-day. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. Again, guys, if it gets rejected here, if we get a big red candle coming, say, below 6,500, it's very likely that we're going to come down and test 6,000, and that's what we're going to have to be watching as to whether or not, again, we go down to 5K or 4K. So again, there's no trend right now. We're pushing sideways. We can obviously see Bitcoin has not made any serious directional moves. Let's remain patient and vigilant, and stay ready at our trading desks if you guys are actively trading, and see what happens. And again, if you're not active, have your stop set, play it smart, and just wait it out and see what happens. So let's go ahead and also talk about as well, not only is Bitcoin getting very close to its wedge and actually looking like it might tether out, but also take a look at Ethereum. We can look at the USD or the Bitcoin chart. Again, general wedge building up here, higher levels of support, lower levels of resistance. And again, earlier today, we had a little bit of a breakout, what some might see as a little bit of a breakout above it, but we have not closed above there. Again, we need confirmation of a close before we really call this a breakout. Not to mention, we have to be worried as well that the 50-day is still above both the USD and Bitcoin comparative for Ethereum. So I really want to get a big green candle. I think Ethereum would move quite nice if we get the same in Bitcoin, as most cryptos tend to follow Bitcoin. But again, look for something in the next 24 to 48 hours. If we can get this above 36 million Satoshis, or excuse me, 3,600,000 Satoshis, I'm going to feel much more confident on Ethereum here. But again, no trend as of yet. Wait for, the major move to come into the market. Let all the leverage traders, kind of push the price around. Just kind of sit back, let the show happen, and, again, wait for a more confirmational trend. So again, this goes with most altcoins, guys. I don't want to spend too much time diving into the TA because there's not too many plays at the moment. But if you guys want to ask me what my trades are, generally what I'm looking to potentially trade on, again, these are not what I'm trading at the moment. I'm still in my NANO position I talked about the other day. Not only am I looking at NANO, but I'm also looking at other momentum plays. I think NANO is going to become one of those momentum plays over the next coming months if we get an altcoin cycle. But along with that as well, we've got some plays that we've talked about before, again, that aren't so much fundamental plays, but are good potential trading opportunities. Again, you got to determine for yourself, guys, whether or not you like them or not. But Verge, for example, this is a definite one that we watch. I'll go ahead and get it here on Binance so we get a little bit more consistent price action here. But Verge coming up to test towards the 100-day, well above the 50-day here. Again, this one's been getting some volume spikes down here at these lows. We haven't really seen this kind of volume since back in April. And it might be a sign that, again, some of the momentum plays might be setting up for a nice move. And we know that these ones move very quick when they start moving. Same goes, for example, on another momentum play, Tron. So again, it's a question of whether or not we can really hold on some of these key levels. Bitcoin starts moving. Definitely watch for a potential short-term trade over the next few days or weeks on some of these momentum plays. And again, you've got Ripple as well that might come in. I think that's one. And I want to clarify this as well. The reason I want to visit Ripple here, and I should have done it after Ethereum, but let me be clear on Ripple, guys. I understand a lot of people took a quote that I said in the last video that the hype wasn't lasting through the Swell conference. And again, I want to make it clear, please hear me out here. I wasn't trying to insult Ripple or XRP more specifically. I was just signaling that in the market, as we can see here on the chart, after the Swell conference, which was, again, the conference, we didn't know what they were going to be talking about. We had a general idea, but I think a lot of people were hoping for some big announcement. Wasn't enough to push the price of XRP higher. Okay, that's all I was stating. Just want to make that clear because, again, I've been more neutral-minded with XRP and Ripple. Me personally, it's not really my kind of mantra, but again, at the same time, I'm not going to turn away from a potential trading opportunity. What I do like to see, and what I didn't think we'd honestly see, is a hold on the 200-day, which we are doing yet again as we had over here. So if this continues to hold and you get a nice bounce in Bitcoin, this might be repeating the history that we've seen in Ripple beforehand, where it generally gets a hold on one of the moving averages, or generally about halfway on the uptrend, and then we get a continuation to much higher levels around the 220,000 Satoshi range. So we could see that, especially with Bitcoin being much lower, and a lot of people definitely, I can see the community has grown around XRP and Ripple in general over the past few months. But I can tell you, I don't know of any major catalyst in regards to the news that might help carry that forward, unless we get some more XRapid partners getting on board and using the software outside of just Xcurrent, because that's really what's going to be a bolster for XRP. So again, watch the momentum plays, guys. Again, sometimes irrationality is what really carries things more than anything. That's the market. So let's go ahead through our one quick headline here in crypto, and then we'll take a look at traditional markets. I thought this was a really good piece. In fact, I didn't get to meet him, but he was at the conference. As you all know, Malta is going to be the new home for Binance. CZ has recently announced that all the listing fees for cryptocurrencies on the exchange are going to be donated to charity. This has been something that I think, out of anything, has been the biggest criticism of Binance over the past few months, is the quite ridiculous listing fees that they have. Now, I will tell you all something. It is important. As always, I'm going to share with you guys what I know. A lot of the times, exchanges will list these crazy fees not because they really want to kind of just price gouge people. It's more than anything to kind of shoo away a lot of the projects in the space that are not quality. And basically what Binance will do is they'll wait to see if there's a secondary response. From what I've understood from exchanges, sometimes they wait for a secondary response of like, hey, look, we can't pay the listing fee. Maybe we could do something smaller, but here's our material. And again, they send over stuff to review the project. But anyways, just a side little note I want to put there. But I thought this was really good. I love out of anything, not only did they guarantee that a large donation is as not a guarantee of a listing, but along with it as well, I think they had a tweet here where, this was a tweet that CZ had put out. We do not list shitcoins, even if they pay 400 or 4,000 BTC. God, man, I would like that kind of BTC. That would be nice if I could just list something on a platform that I own and I get 4,000 BTC. How nice would that be? But anyways, good incentive structure. I really like that Binance, again, as much as Binance with all exchanges, there is some good things going on and some bad things going on. At least there's some good moral incentives, and really I think they're doing really well with publicity and marketing. I think someone said that CZ really has kind of been a good in a sense role model or PR kind of face in regards to to the Chinese exchanges and stuff. Obviously they've moved around and they've gone from China to Japan and then all the way to Malta, but again, Binance has really kept up its public image and really is one of the few exchanges that has actual organic volume at the moment, so I give them credit for that. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about equities, because I've been actually really wanted to talk about this more than anything. Right now, the Nasdaq is really what I'm focusing on. Now, earlier today, we had a slight gap down in the Nasdaq, and then it started to rebound, and everyone was joking about how we survived the crash and everything, but it's actually continuing right now. Now, this isn't really so much a crash. This is obviously a correction in the Nasdaq. It's just bringing us down back to August levels. It's not that bad, but again, was well overdue. I think we needed this, and I think we're very much getting a similar correction to what we saw back in February of this year. And we might get something even more sharp like we saw back in August of 2015, which I'll go ahead and bring up here where it starts to, you can obviously see the momentum picks up. But I've been talking, for the past week or so about a potential volatility trade coming in, guys, and it's looking like we're getting that. The real thing here, I have no doubt we're going to come down to the 200-day, whether that's today or tomorrow. The fact of the matter is, I would be looking to see what happens over the next week, because if we break the 200-day, which, bear in mind, has not been broken on the Nasdaq since back here on June 30th of 2016, that is going to signal a very, very cautious, a very, very cautious tone in markets at the moment. And it doesn't help as well that a lot of the indexes that tend to signal bull markets in general, those are going down as well. The tech stocks, the high risk stocks, not to mention what we've talked about, and I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we've talked a lot about the home builders, which actually is one of the few indexes slightly up today. The home builders, which we've talked about for a while, has not only been on a grinding decline, but is now really picking up pace and has been on its biggest losing streak in years. So again, very, very cautious. I'm very, very cautious in this sense. So we can take a look here at the weekly, and you just see the momentum picking up. We haven't seen something like this since back in, again, August. Actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. The correction here was more in December compared to most stocks that were in August of 2015. But outside of that, we really haven't seen this back during 2006, 2007 levels. So this could be the early stage of a pullback, or we could be pulling back towards, say, for example, 18 here on the index, having a nice steady correction as we've started to see prices in the housing market stagnate. We've been seeing less buyer activity. Could be building support on previous resistance here. Again, we got to keep neutral, but a breach on the 200 week here would be very, very bad in the long term. Again, we've seen in the past when that break off comes, you tend to see a much longer term correction. And it's not good to see that we're having a sharp correction already, seeing as we haven't come back up to those previous highs. But then again, the housing market is in a very different place than where it was in I would say, the mid 2000s. But nonetheless, there's definitely a little bit of a bubble going on with some of the property values. And I can tell you, it's slightly different in regards to the areas that we live in. It's I can see in the housing market the $300,000 to $400,000 homes, the new homes that are being built, are tending to be bought quite nicely. But it's more of the more expensive properties that millennials aren't buying. And the biggest issue more than anything is the cities. It's more of the cities and how expensive they're getting at the moment due to all the foreign investment. And obviously we had the quantitative easing over the past few years that had easy money and easy credit. So again, very important to watch, but take a look across the indices. Again, the general same story here. It's looking like a double top on a lot of the major indices. Again, making slightly new highs on the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq, but we're still kind of topping out at the same range we had back in January of this year. And I would also say about the Russell as well. This is probably the most terrifying chart out of all of them. The small caps is already testing towards the 200-day. And I think if you get any of these major indexes starting to break steadily past the 200-day, they're going to drag the others with them. You can see, again, most times that even the Russell, which has been obviously it's a small cap, so it's higher risk, higher return, but and vice versa as well. When you have higher risk, you also have higher losses. So in this case, if we really do break steadily over the next day or two below the 200-day on the Russell, I'd keep an eye on those other indexes. I think you could continue to see a spike in the VIX as we are seeing at the moment. Well overdue, again, as we talked about. So let's go ahead and talk about commodities here. I'm going to run through gold and silver. Gold and silver both rolling over, as I've been talking about, as much as I think commodities are a much better play than equities at this point in 2018. Again, commodities can move with equities. We got a rejection, a multi-day rejection at the 50-day. This has been looking like it's going to roll over for a while. It just took a little bit longer. So I think you're going to see gold probably come back down, at least down to this range at $1,120 for per ounce basis. And along with that, we might have a chance down at the lower range we saw back here in December of 2015. However, I'd say out of the two, out of silver and gold, my bets would be placed on silver, even though I am waiting patiently. Again, had about a 5-day rejection here, really starting to pick up the pace to the downside in silver's price. And I think, again, you'll either have a test of the double bottom here, or it might move to a lower level. But the gold to silver ratio is saying that silver is probably the better play here. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the third play, URA, uranium. Many of us were watching this in the last daily update. We were talking about how this was getting close to potentially breaking out of the multi-year wedge. However, it looks like we are getting a slight rejection here, and we might get one more chance for those of you who might want to make the trade and stuff who are watching it to potentially get it down at this lows around $12. I know I'm going to potentially be making a trade there if crypto markets don't really move. I'm going to definitely start dabbling a little bit in equities or trading a little bit in FX markets, so I might do a little bit of a trade on URA. But again, yeah, definitely. Either way, whether you like it long-term or not, guys, these technical patterns make for great little short-term swing trades. You can see here, it's very easy to read. You're not using any crazy indicators, any crazy, market sentiment measures or anything along. It's just simply lines on the chart. It's a simple wedge. And this is very similar to what's known as naked trading. We're just keeping it very simple, support and resistance. That's the key a lot of the times. So Anyways, that's it for the video, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, I appreciate you guys having a lot of patience over the past few days. I was quite busy at the conference. As you can probably tell, I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, I'm a little bit stuffed up right now. As always, when I travel somewhere, I got a little bit sick. I don't know what I caught. It was like really on the last day. It wasn't even when I went to the airport or flew. So, yeah, as always, that's tended to happen. It's always got to happen. But anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. And if there's anything you guys want me to cover on the next video or that I missed, please leave it down in the comments down below. As always, I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.